Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is when you're listening to this video. We're so glad you are here. We are the Investing Bros. My name is Tim, and we got a lot to talk about in this news update. It is morning for us, the 11th of October, and we've got some big stories and things happening on the charts, but maybe nothing as big as our headline story. I'm about to throw to T-Shroom for details and other stories, but it does look like a win for Ripple is coming, because they are going to be talking. Actually, engagement has already begun for ending that lawsuit completely. SEC wrapping up, walking away, admitting defeat, but it could be negative for Coinbase because it looks like all of the energy that the SEC has been spending against Ripple for the last 2 years could begin to go into Coinbase. But for more on that, I'm throwing it to my co-host, T-Shroom. T-Shroom, what do we need to know about Coinbase and the SEC case at this point?
Well, let me take you into it. Let me take you into the details here. It's breaking news, guys. U.S. SEC gets multiple amicus curiae against Coinbase and Ripple. Let me know in the comments if I'm pronouncing this word right.
I think
probably
it's
not.
amicus curiae.
Amicus curiae?
Could be wrong. I think that's what it's pronounced as.
Either way, it's making me want a parfait from McDonald's. But American SEC, American Securities Administration administrators, new finance institute, and administrative law scholars are new amicus curiae supporting the U.S. SEC. Guys, the title here, amicus curiae, is essentially an identity that you take on so that you can file an amicus brief, which then makes you party to a court case in the United States. So that's what that is. It's some Latin phrase. I'm sure it means friend of the defendant or friend of the prosecutor, something along those lines.
This would be like a prosecution of like a murder or something where they bring in a forensics expert. The forensics expert isn't doing the court case yet. That's what it is. It's an outside entity that's coming in, perceived as an expert that helps to give some information.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's pretty much right. The only thing I would add to that is it's somebody who has a motivation of the outcome. They want it to go one way or the other. I think an expert does have some kind of neutrality kind of baked into it, but
maybe
I think
when I looked up amicus curiae, my brief research this morning. So I'm going to say I very much could be wrong. It just made it look like an outside entity that's not the one involved in it, but is coming in to offer expertise or advice or thoughts on the issue. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let us know in the comments how well we did at pretending like we're legal experts.
We don't even know how to read, so yeah.
New Finance Institute, NFI, also filed an amicus brief, there you go, in support of the SEC. It said neither investing nor contract are prerequisites to finding an investment contract. NFI argues that the SEC has authority to regulate crypto and requests the court to deny Coinbase's motion for judgment on the pleadings. Guys, they're classic haters. All these highfalutin, button all the way up institutions, they're using too much starch on their shirts, and they're a little stuck up, and they're siding with the SEC. Hey, somebody's got to take the SEC side. They can't be out there all alone. But look who it is, guys. It's mostly just Gary's buddies, all the the legal associations that he's a part of. He can't even get any kind of real organizations on his side. That has to be like these weird legal firms, whatever. So, all right, let's keep moving though. Star witness Carolyn Ellison says Sam Bankman-Fried directed her to commit fraud. Well, that wouldn't look very good for SBF, now would it? She said, I sent balance sheets at the direction of Sam that made Alameda's balance look less risky to investors. She said, also testifying, Alameda had taken funds from FTX to make its own investments. That sounds to me like a little bit of fraud, a little bit of commingling.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're in. Maybe that's why they're in court. Her proximity to SBF's business and personal life is almost certain to give the jury its closest look yet at the decision-making that led to FTX's epic collapse last November. She has been cooperating with the government since at least December, when she pleaded guilty to an array, a smattering, a plethora of financial crimes stemming from her time at Alameda. Guys, so if there was going to be, a smoking gun here, it would... Wait, what is this drawing?
The drawing, yeah. Hey.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, it's weird.
New NFT. But anyway, Yeah, this is not going to be good for SBF. I think that there'll be many smoking guns that's going to put him behind bars for a very long time, which will get amended to a very short time for deep state elitist reasons. But Tim, what's your take here on this?
Yeah, no, I think that we expected her testimony is probably going to be pretty damning unless they can find some reason to say that she has an incentive to lie and make all this stuff up. But again, I think the evidence is going to be overwhelming, and the original defense is not very great for SBF.
Yep.
So I don't think it's going to take much for the jurors to believe Caroline in this case.
Yeah, no, I agree. And wasn't she was like his boyfriend or girlfriend type of deal?
That's a different subject. It was a very weird situation, I guess is the best way to kind of phrase that and then move on,
A very weird situation, maybe not as a lot of detail, maybe a little opaque, like this drawing we have right here of Caroline Ellison.
You're not wrong.
I'm channeling my inner Deezy with this little bit here. All right, moving along. Ripple's last stand. Here it is. Victory over the SEC's Gary Gensler in sight as settlement talks begin. And Tim, I have to say, I really like the way that you characterize the SEC kind of moving now from Ripple and honing their resources onto Coinbase. I think that that's apt. Yeah. I think that it's an accurate description of what we're seeing in the legal narrative in crypto. But let's stay here on Ripple. Christina Campbell, Ripple's chief financial officer for the past 2.5 years, recently made a career transition from the crypto landscape to the healthcare sector. Is this the end of crypto? Uh-oh. She took on the CFO mantle at Maven Clinic, emphasizing the potential of technology to revolutionize healthcare. And she mentioned in her post on LinkedIn, this move is noteworthy given Ripple's ongoing legal tussle with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. Maybe you've heard of that case. Leave a comment if you've heard of the Ripple v. SEC case. But Tim, what do you think? Is this one got you shaking in your boots? Are you ready to sell all your Ripple?
I'm curious why what's the significance of saying that she moved from Ripple into the healthcare field and then made comments? Like, I guess it's just who she is. She's just commenting. She formerly worked for Ripple, and she's commenting this is a big deal. But the writer going into detail about what she moved into for her future work has nothing to do with crypto and nothing to do with this situation, in my opinion. Maybe you read that a different way. What do you think the significance of her moving in the healthcare field is?
Well, I disagree. I mean, look. It looks like XRP has passed the 8 ball here. Like they've won. This is all kind of formalities. Yeah. Very small chance that something bad could happen to them here. But there is still a chance. And I think when you have a major lead like the CFO leaving the company to go into a totally different sector, that could translate to the argument, translate to the market. Hey, like this sector is going down, right? She's jumping off the ship. I think it's a little too.
Not how that wasn't the context.
Well, that's why the context is important because we don't know, right? If she came out and said I'm leaving crypto and shaking off the dust for my boots, right? That would be a different context, and that would be worrying.
That's what I'm saying.
She's I'm siding with.
If the context had been a bad move for XRP and a bad move for crypto. And then it says, well, she moved and got out of the crypto field completely, went to the healthcare field. Then I'd be like, all right, that was relevant information. But what she's commenting on is how good this is for Ripple and how good this is that it's moving on. And so I'm like, why is it significant that she left to go to the healthcare field? If it had just said former CFO, I would have been like, yeah, makes sense. All right, she left, she's gone, but she's still coming on and she clearly still has good wishes for the Ripple team.
Yeah.
But there's no it's all semantics. I just don't understand why her being in the healthcare world is relevant in this case.
Yeah. Well,
but, that's just me.
I see where you're coming from, Tim. I think there's a chance that this could have been big news. I think what this article is saying, this isn't big news. It could have been, this isn't, but it needed to be said, I'd say. So, I mean, like if Charles Hoskinson says, hey, I'm moving into the healthcare field now, and I only kind of care about the crypto applications of healthcare, like that would be a little troubling, right? So anyway, but a lot of these high-ranking C-suite officers were kind of brought in from other industries. I don't know if that's the case for her or if she graduated college, went straight into crypto. Right, that would actually be some relevant information. But
the other thing is,
for all we know, that she's going to go into healthcare and implement blockchain technology. So but we just don't know.
Maybe.
So
But CFOs do not have to know that much
Right.
about the business they're being a CEO.
Also true.
They're just responsible for the business money. They don't
Right.
need to know what the business is really doing intricately. So
Right. And that's true. Obviously, you're going to be a better CFO if you do know about the business you're operating, but you're right. If you're the accountant, if the chief accountant or whatever, you just need to make sure the money right. All right, guys, we got one more story here. We're not going to spend too much time on it, but somehow we have not covered it. It's been out for like 2 days now. I guess only one day.
Yeah, I think one day, yeah.
Time feels like, okay. Hamas-linked crypto accounts frozen by Israeli police with Binance's help. Apparently, this is not the first time that this has happened, though. Binance worked with Israeli authorities before to take down a terrorism financing operation linked to Iraq's Quad Force.
That's Iran. That's
Iran. Oh, man. There's just that cue right there kind of got into it. And
in there, yeah.
Anyway. Yes. Operation linked to Iran's Quds Force and Hezbollah, the firm said in June. So they've done it before. They've worked. Binance has worked with anti-terrorism experts, and then a representative said, over the past few days, our team has been working in real time around the clock to support ongoing efforts to combat terror financing. We're committed to ensuring the safety and security, not just of the blockchain ecosystem, but also the global community through our proactive work. So, Tim, here, I think the smoking gun here is that these terrorist groups probably should have been on a DEX, right?
And I want to make sure we cover this as we're not advising or trying to support terrorism in any way whatsoever. But my problem with this story, T-Shroom, is while I think that in the long scale thing, this is a good move, this is an ultimate act of centralization that we're trying to get away from. In the same way, we would never say we support the Russia attack of Ukraine, at the same time shutting down Russian accounts and not allowing people in Russia to be able to exchange cryptocurrency is an ultimate act of centralization that I think defeats the whole purpose of what crypto is. So the dangerous thing about this T-Shroom is, while this is a dangerous terrorism organization that I think a lot of us would agree, okay, I think from an ethical morality standpoint, it probably was a good thing that they were shut down. What's to stop the terrorism label from going on other groups that aren't negative? So again, in this situation, I don't think any harm was done, but the precedence being set is a dangerous precedence that if you are labeled a terrorism organization by this entity, you could get shut down and you actually didn't even do anything wrong. So that's scary to me.
Yeah. There's a lot of thoughts here that require a lot of heavy lifting to really give the full analysis. But guys, the overall principle substrate kind of working behind all of this is that crypto unlocks freedom, and freedom isn't free, right? There are implications to these new technologies. One of those implications is that radical speech is enabled, right? Radical speech can be funded much more easily. And when that speech becomes violent, that's where it becomes a bigger question. But the problem is not with the technology. The problem is with the violence. And humanity has found solutions to quelling violence again and again throughout the ages. So I think we'll be okay. But Binance is an organization, right? It has its own agenda, unlike a DEX that just kind of sits there and operates, right? And so it's not blind. Binance has to cooperate. Well, maybe it doesn't have to cooperate, but it ought to cooperate when it can prevent harm and pain to human beings. Is an argument that you could make. I feel like I certainly would make that argument, but it is controversial, right? And as we kind of move into this deeper crypto conversation, there's also arguments that Binance shouldn't have taken action against the terrorist. I don't think I would make those arguments, but they're certainly there. All right, Tim, what is next? Ready to wrap
now
it up?
This is going to be this is probably one of our longer morning updates, but it's good stuff, all good conversation. Let's finish up with some good TNA. You guys love the TNA. Don't know why we call it TNA. We just do. Let's start with Bitcoin, guys. Big drop last night. We not only lost that red support line of our symmetrical triangle, we also lost temporarily. We temporarily lost this longer time frame support level going back all the way to September 11th. Now, we are working currently at trying to recapture it. You can see we wicked back up. This is This is not good, though. We wicked back up and rejected on the red level support, so we turned that support level into resistance. And while technically at the time of shooting this video, we're at 241, back above the blue line, we could absolutely continue to drop, close, and turn this blue line into resistance. And this is, again, something that we've been saying on this channel. I joked yesterday that after Jim Cramer came out bearish on Bitcoin that I'm bullish now, but I kid. Guys, short term, I'm not bullish on Bitcoin. I think that we're heading to the downside. I think we're working on creating this right shoulder when I go out to the daily chart of the head and shoulders pattern. I think that we're moving throughout October and November to the downside to a pivot where, again, do we stop at 21.5? I think that's an intriguing area. Do we stop at 20,000 or we drop a little bit below? I think that price will be going below 25,000 and we're seeing the signs kind of come in. Another thing to think about, remember yesterday, T-shirt, when we talked about Fidelity coming out super bullish, and I told you guys you have to look for the lie. Well, guess what? The lie has come out. Not only is Fidelity saying, oh, Bitcoin's great, they're actually telling their 43 million customers to go ahead and invest in Bitcoin. Now, they're not going to benefit from this yet because they don't have the spot ETF. What's the incentive of them telling people to buy Bitcoin? Guys, that's the lie. They want to sell their Bitcoin. They want to buy more cheap Bitcoin so they can load up that bag for spot ETFs for a boom to come later. Now, I don't want to say they're lying about Bitcoin being valuable. I think they're honest. They honestly love Bitcoin. They want to see it go up. But this is the manipulative move from an institution. Classic tactic you got to be aware of. When they tell you to buy, they have a different motivation. When they tell you to sell, they have a different motivation. Them telling their people to buy, to me, is kind of a nail in the coffin, in my opinion, that the price of Bitcoin more than likely is heading to the downside. That they want to gobble more supply at lower levels. So keep your eyes fixed on that, guys. Very interesting stuff happening here. Now, the Bitcoin dominance is dropping a little bit. There's a couple coins not dropping as much. Ethereum hovering on this support level on the 4-hour chart right here. Let's go to the daily chart. You guys can see we are in a rising triangle here on Ethereum, but we're right now wrestling with this support level once again. Let's see what the oscillators are saying from Chart Prime. We're starting to see some green histograms coming on MVP, but we're not seeing any flashes necessarily on the daily chart. So I'd love to see that come in. Money flow kind of sideways, but a little to the downside. Let's see if the 4-hour chart is telling us to buy. Not really. The 4-hour chart ignoring a buy signal back here, and now we've dropped a little bit lower. You could see bullish divergence kind of pop up here, but what I'm seeing is the MVP oscillator is not screaming buy. Money flow is going to the downside. RSI is resetting, moving back to the upside, even though price really isn't moving back to the upside. To me, this is a bearish look. I think Ethereum is about to do something similar that XRP just did, where XRP just lost a support level of its own ascending triangle. Do not be surprised if you're seeing Ethereum do the exact same thing. Cardano also kind of reaching. We talked about this yesterday. We're starting to continue to head down towards that critical support line of 24 cents. Will we be able to hold it? We'll talk more about this again later this afternoon. My opinion is no, but make sure you join us for our 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live show where we do a lot more technical analysis. We cover new breaking news that might happen this afternoon. You don't want to miss it. On your way out, guys, smash the like button, hit subscribe, and we will see you this afternoon. Take care.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.